I want to welcome you back to another episode of M.A.D Talk. Today, we have my main man, Jesse, here. He's a Towson University alum, and he has one of the biggest children's YouTube channels in Thailand. Jesse, say hello to the people today.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jesse.
All right. So, Jesse, like I said, we went in a little bit, but, tell us a little bit about your story. Explain to everybody who you are, what you do, everything like that.
Since we're both Towson alums, and I think you even live in Harford County. I'm from Harford County.
Yes.
Small world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to Towson University in state, had a good education there, graduated with a computer art degree. So I was into graphics, and I was also into, computer repair, and did that as a part-time job. Before I graduated, I met my wife, Jira, and she's from Thailand, well-educated, but she wanted the experience to be a nanny, to travel around the world, see America, see some new places. So we met up. Had kind of a whirlwind romance, got married within the first year, and it's been 14 years. so things went really well. And about 4 years in, we had my daughter Brianna. I think just a good life opportunity. My wife was going off for contract job with Aon Hewitt, and I had a good job, but we were so tired of losing jobs. So we're like, you know what? We've done the Baltimore thing for 10 years. It's been a good run. We've been to every restaurant, every theme park, everything we could do in this area. And we thought, hey, you know what? Let's try a different adventure. So we just, she's 7 months pregnant with my son, Skylar, and we just sold everything and just moved. We ended up moving over to Thailand. My daughter was 4 at the time, Brianna. And we ended up doing 2 things. One is I started doing outsourced artwork for other entrepreneurs that were making iOS and Android games. Mm-hmm. So they were making apps, they were getting codes, they were trying to flip the codes around, and they needed art. And I was like, hey, I can do game art. So I got connected with a niche community, and I built a whole following, grew that business, ended up opening up a shop, had a whole team of artists under me in Thailand, and joined up with my biggest competitor and ran her operation. We started doing really well. We bought a house. Things were good. And then Apple changed the algorithm, and
of course,
kind of tagged that. We hung in there for a few years. So I probably did that for about 4 years. But eventually closed shop, and I got a job in the tech sector here in Bangkok for a little while. Decided, well, Towson was great for giving me art education. I knew a lot about art. I could speak Japanese a bit, and I got a good education for what it was, but I was missing a big chunk, which was the whole entrepreneurship, the business side, that was, for some reason, not covered in my art education. So I thought, you know what? I want to get an MBA, but I don't have time to go to school, right? It's got to be during my commute. Yeah. So I basically subscribed to a whole bunch of podcasts. Huge fan of Gary Vee, Tony Robbins. There's quite a few others that are really, really good influencers. And I just started listening to good stuff every day, talking mindset, talking patience, talking long-term goals. And it was just what I needed to hear. It got me out of that, like, I need to make a quick buck. I need to survive. And I started going into long-term planning.
It's just, it goes back to things that I've discussed on this channel before in these different interviews about how people don't understand that social media is just so vast. We don't need Hollywood anymore because we can make Hollywood ourselves and create something bigger than ourselves that was bigger than what they could have thought. Because like you said, Hollywood rejected, or I wouldn't say Hollywood, but the industry rejected your daughter after she stopped being this rosy cheeks, Barney kid. After stopped being that, they rejected her. And it's like, there's so many people that are rejected by this industry that now we have no more excuses to say, hey, they reject me. Now start a YouTube channel, start a podcast, make skits, different things like that. People who no one thought could ever do anything are out here making their own stuff because they believe in themselves.
Yeah, so I am a firm believer in kind of creating attention for yourself. So there, and I'm sure you've been there. There's often gatekeepers in society, and
Yes.
these gatekeepers, whether it's a boss, whether it's the head of the town that's issuing your permits, the guy that's dishing out mortgages, you're at the mercy of gatekeepers. And what social media or YouTube has allowed us to do is gather attention and redefine our path on our terms. And it's awesome because we started out with a belief that we were going to gather the attention and we were going to become the gatekeepers, and that we were going to dominate a segment of the market. That market is going to grow up with us, and then we are going to become the next gatekeepers to this demographic. And if the advertisers want to get to that demographic, they've got to come through us.
But that goes into another thing that you were talking about earlier about entrepreneurship and the fact that you weren't taught that in Towson or just in school, and you were an art major and everything like that. Now let me ask you this question: do you think entrepreneurship can be taught, or do you think it's more of one of those things where you have to actually experience it? It's not something that you can learn from theory. What's your opinion on that?
I'm going to kind of steal notes from Gary Vee because he gets asked this question a lot, and I like his answer, so I'm going to use it.
Hey, as long as you believe in the answer,
I do, absolutely. So his example is always like, he's like, look, I can be the best basketball player I can be. If you're 5'7", you're never going to dunk, but you can still get a mean 3-point shot. You can work hard. You can be a basketball player, right? But you're not going to be an NBA star. You're only going to go so far with like mechanical learning and practice and all that without the natural ability. And I think entrepreneurship, I think there's different degrees. It's not like black and white. I am not as purebred of an entrepreneur. I wasn't born to be a car salesman. I wasn't, I did sell candy in elementary school. I did have a couple early examples of me doing stuff, but it wasn't in my family. It wasn't an environment I grew up in. My dad was like, I'm going to work for the state and I'm going to retire for the state. And he did. And it worked out for him pretty well, but just, he's the old school, generation of, the government will take care of me and I'm just going to work one job for my whole life. And that didn't play out for me at all. My wife and I, she's definitely, her dad is an entrepreneur. He's always had his own business. And so she grew up around that. And she's been kind of like having an itch to do stuff. And we're a pretty good team. So I tend to be like the high level thinker, like, hey, let's plan out long-term strategy, like see the environment, see where there's opportunities. And my wife is the diehard operator. She is like the day-to-day nuts and bolts. Let's get this done. Let's do this. Let's contact this person. And she's way more organized than I could ever be. So between the two of us, we're like one complete entrepreneur.
And now for you guys to have as much success as you had on, just social media, on YouTube, everything like that, where do you see YouTubers making a difference to their community and to their world? Because I feel like a lot of people like underplay the passion that it takes and the talent that it takes to make a YouTube channel. A lot of times they love to hit with that lucky word, but they do that for everyone, even people who like Microsoft or Apple or Facebook. People have always said that. Now, where do you think that impact is for YouTubers? Because I feel like when you think about it, they have a huge impact on our society and on our world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, if you're talking about sort of social responsibility, impact, it has kind of weighed on us. You know, we just started off with an entertainment channel, right? You're just going to make fun kid videos for kids, you know, make some toy videos. But once you start doing the numbers we do, and you start realizing you know, Thailand's our audience is 98% Thai, and you know, and there's only supposed to be like 17 million Thai kids, like, or less in the country. That's like 1 to 18. Like that's the chunk that we're working with here. And like in the last 3 months, we've had 21 million unique channel visits. And I know a lot of kids watch a ton of videos on different devices and stuff, but that's still, it's like kind of hits you how big of an influence you're having on the next generation of this country that's going to grow up to be the future leaders. So we haven't gone like completely altruistic and made a whole bunch of you know, hippy dippy videos about the social good, but we have started to work some so, you know, beneficial themes. We did one. There's been a couple Thai kids that got locked in a van and died.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so we made a video teaching kids how to get out of the van and what things they could do if they're ever locked in the van. You know, how to honk the horn, how to unlock the van, and it did really good. I think the parents must have been sharing that one. We did another one. It was sort of a fairy tale on the beach, but you know, the whole message was, let's keep the oceans clean, let's clean up the beaches. So and I think we're going to do one on kidnapping, because that's something that happens too, you know, trafficking, and how to keep your kids safe, and you know, what to watch out for. So you know, we're starting to have these videos where we feel like, yeah, we can have an impact here. I don't think it's everybody's responsibility, but I do think for those that get kind of the top, that have that massive traction, I do think that there's a responsibility to teach good values and to make sure that you're benefiting society in a positive way instead of a negative way.
Really apparent that a lot of people, many times, whenever they get up there in ranking and everything like that, they don't care about no one but themselves. And it's one of these things that I feel like needs to change, you know, because you need to realize that everything that any one of us has gotten at this point in time, when it comes down to having attention and everything like that, is because of our audience. And I think that's what Gary Vaynerchuk preaches a lot, that I really, really agree with, is that, you know, they come first. They come first. I'm not saying that, you know, you got to bend over backwards just to please them, but they come first. You know, you got to be a good person. Do positive things. Be positive. Don't put out so much negativity and garbage into the world, because you get it back to you. Because like now you can basically get in trouble for stuff that, you know, happened. Like people can bring it up from 40, 50 years ago, and now it's gonna come back. Now, do you think, because there's two mindsets in there, is that yes, now we have to be more transparent about who we are, which develops more human connections, of course, but also, you know, we can still get in trouble for things that may have happened, that we may have already been punished for. That
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, do you think that's a double-edged sword?
Absolutely. Anytime that you've got this situation where the public can get emotionally riled up and can jump on a bandwagon and attack an individual, you know, the whole doxing thing, like you can really get these bad situations where maybe the public didn't get like a fair view. They got one piece of propaganda video, and they're like, yeah, let's get him, you know, and you get this whole mob mentality, but you know, it follows people global. You can't just run away from it to the next town. It's it can be definitely bad. I mean, it's one of those things, you know, it can be a righteous anger or it can be a misplaced anger. And when it's misplaced, it can do a lot of damage. It's scary, like, you know, and I try to keep a low profile online for a lot of those reasons, that, you know, you got to watch it. People can be vicious online, especially when it's anonymous, for sure. Definitely double-edged.
And this is all going to be like creator and entrepreneurial base.
Right.
What is the number one tip from a successful YouTuber like yourself to someone else who wants to build their own YouTube empire or build their own YouTube business and everything like that? What do you say is the number one step that they have to do to be successful?
I would say kind of a hybrid answer.
Mhm.
I would say it's two parts. One is that content is king. Um,
Yes, it is.
I see so many people that have crap content, but they want to figure out every trick in the book to make people, to shove their garbage video down people's throats. Well, maybe I can share it. Maybe I can do sub for sub. Maybe I can do. It's like, dude, you just need to make good content. You need, if you're not making good content, make it better. Keep working on it. Figure it out. Make it better. And the other thing is knowing your audience. But this goes good together with the content, right? Is that if your audience is in India and it's primarily vegans, and you're all about barbecue cooking, um,
That's not going to
like
be a good look.
right,
That's not.
it might not be the best fit for that audience. So you have to. It's a balancing act, but it all comes down to making great content for the right people.
Because
Okay.
that stays in the same realm of being a creator and entrepreneur. Um, what do you say is like the most apparent thing that you notice about things like that? Because, like, for instance, I work with a lot of EMF majors here at House, and I don't know, I believe that was a major at the time
Yeah, yeah.
in there. I work with a lot of them. The thing that I notice about them that's very apparent is that they worry too much about the little details at times and not
Yep.
about the overall storytelling. Like, you can
Right.
have the best editing in the world, the best lighting, everything else. But if you're not telling a cohesive story with what you're doing, it's not going to do anything. You know,
Right.
so
Absolutely.
what's your mindset on that? Do you think it's more of, all right, let's get the editing and everything done, or storytelling when it comes down to content is key?
Well, being an artist for years, one thing that I kind of learned while I was at Towson with art in that respect is that sometimes you can go down these little rabbit holes, right? And there's traps in every industry that's a rabbit hole that it's so easy and so seductive to get down into this rabbit hole and start worrying about these little tiny details that are just one tiny part of the entire picture.
Mhm.
Um, maybe it's the angle of the face, and you spend all your time on that where the arm looks like it's broken, when you're drawing a picture, it doesn't matter how good the face is. If the whole thing is off, that one detail is going to be wasted time, wasted effort. EMF majors getting way, way too wrapped up in the digital and technical aspects of film production is a rabbit hole. It's one of those things that's so easy for them to go down, right? Because they love the gear, they love the tech, but you know, that's when you got to back up and put your director hat on and be like, okay, tech is one of the important parts of this entire production, but we also have to have good lighting, good acting. We've got to have a great story. We've got to, do our market research so we know what kind of stories are going to be engaging. We have at least some ideas about what the audience wants. And so, yeah, I think one of the things about YouTube or just general film production is you need to be really good or at least average at a lot of different disciplines: audio, video, storytelling, um, acting, makeup, like the whole thing. And like if you've got a full crew, then you can start having specialists. But until then, you are the whole crew, and it's all up to you to be at least learned in all these different disciplines to the point where you're like, okay, I'm not the best lighting guy, but I've got my light set up. That's better than nothing. And I've written this story out. I've done the best job I can. I've got, I have a couple of my friends that I think are good actors, and we're going to try to do the best job we can to pull this story together. And it's about really kind of spreading your energy out on all the different fronts rather than putting all your eggs in one basket. With YouTube, I realized that was going to be a thing. So when I started out, I was like, I'm going to take the attitude that I suck. However, I'm going to try my best. And every week, I'm going to do a new video. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about last week's video. And we're going to say, what can we do to make that video better for next week? What can we do the next week to improve? How can we figure out the video, the audio, the lighting? I mean, my first videos were crap. I mean, they were really, really bad, just bad everything. But they got progressively better as we figured this stuff out. But it got that way because we made the effort to try to keep improving. And I think that, trying to learn little bits as you go and understand that you're going to fail, you're going to put out some crap videos, but as long as you keep progressing, having a positive attitude and keep going at it, stepping up, I think you're going to be successful.
But yeah, that was great. That was great. And I love hearing that because I love hearing how people who have big influences, who have big followings like yourselves, are trying to do something better for everyone else. And it's not just, oh, I'm here to make $1, I'm here to do this. No, it's about making the world a better place. So that being said, is there any last thoughts, anything you might want to say to the crowd real quick before we sign off?
Well, just thanks for having me. I always love sharing my story. I think it's a cool story. It's interesting when people want to listen to it. I'm not pitching anything to you guys. I'm not trying to get you to buy any of my products. Definitely not trying to get you to watch any of my videos. Unless you have Thai nieces or nephews that need to be entertained, then by all means, come and watch Brianna's Secret Club.
All right. So, Jesse, it was great to have you. We're definitely going to have you again in the future.
Awesome.
Again, like I said, this is M.A.D Talk, Making a Difference. It's Antoine Dupree from the CreatorSourceStudios YouTube channel. It's been great having you guys, and I'll check you in the next one.